Hey guys, welcome back, and in this episode I'm going to give you my opinion on if you should buy or build AR-15s. Hey guys, I'm sitting here with my AR-10 build, and I know this isn't AR-15, but it is very, very similar. There's only minor differences between an AR-10 and an AR-15. If you're curious about the differences, let me know, and I can make a video talking about the AR-10 versus the AR-15 platform, but there are not a lot of differences. But I had posted a photo of this on Instagram, and one of my subscribers messaged me and asked why I build ARs instead of buy them. So I thought that was a great question, so I figured I would address that question with a video, and I figured I could go ahead and just bring out this one, the one that he actually questioned it about, and start talking about the pros and cons of each. So I'll start with rifles that you purchase from the store. The pros of that are you can start shooting immediately. You don't have to take it, you don't have to build it, you don't need to, learn how to assemble a rifle. You can literally buy it, go to the range if they have a range at the store, and start firing off rounds. Number two is if you have any issues with the rifle, you can usually take it to the store. They sometimes will have a gunsmith there. They can, fix any issues with the rifle, or they'll help you in getting it sent back to the manufacturer to be repaired. But I would say one of the cons to not building a rifle is just not knowing exactly how they work. So when I first got into AR-15s, I was at the range and I had a double feed, and I wasn't sure what happened. They were actually, the rounds were jammed together inside of the bolt carrier group area into the upper receiver, and I couldn't get it out. I felt really dumb having to go to the counter and ask somebody to come help me. They came out, they were actually able to disassemble the rifle, get the rounds out, and everything was fine. Had I known a lot more about the rifle, instead of just buying it from the store and then taking it to the range and shooting it, I would have been able to figure out the issue myself. One of the other benefits with buying a complete rifle is it's, like I said, it's ready to go and all the parts are going to work together. You don't have to worry about springs or buffer weights or any of that. You can just go out and start shooting it. However, the con of that is that you're getting probably pretty crappy parts. Usually when you buy a rifle, anywhere around $1,000 to $1,500, you're getting the lower end mil-spec parts throughout the rifle. You're paying for the name brand, you're paying for the professional assembly, and while that does definitely have a benefit to some, I think for the majority, it just doesn't have the benefit that they think it does. So building an AR is actually very easy. There's only a few springs on it. You only need a couple of tools. You just need some punches and a hammer, and you need a vise and an armor's wrench and stuff. But for the most part, it's very minimal tools. And once you have it and once you have the tools, you can use that to build as many rifles as you want. And once you've built one, you can build them all. There's nothing difficult about any of the AR-15 or even AR-10 platform rifles. So what are the cons? The cons are you just don't really learn about the rifle. You start shooting it and you don't really get a full understanding of how the fire control group works, and you don't really get an idea of how every part of it works. I actually sold an AR-15 to my dad that I had purchased a few years back, and he was really concerned that the charging handle was going to, and he's been shooting guns his whole life, but he's never shot an AR style rifle. He was concerned that the bolt carrier group was going to actually send the charging handle back into his face. So when I first got him set up on it, you could see when he was holding the rifle, he would hold it kind of like this, concerned that charging handle was going to kick back. So that to me is the first pro for building your own rifle, is you learn it. When you're building it, you go into it thinking it's a difficult venture, and by the end of it, you're like, wow, that was really simple. I can assemble a lower in probably the same time it takes most people to drink a beer. There's only a few springs, detents, and it's super easy to put together. If you have the right tools, you can put it together almost in your sleep. The other benefit to it is that you can customize it the way you want. This rifle here really has no customizations inside of the lower. These are pretty much mil-spec parts. There's nothing specific about them. So what I did was, when I bought this Aero Precision's lower, I had it shipped to an FFL who's a friend of mine, and he has a really good rate for transferring firearms. So I use him for pretty much everything when it comes to buying online. And once I got the lower, I then ordered an Aero Precision's lower parts kit for an AR-10. And basically that includes the fire control group, your takedown pin, your pivot pin, your bolt catch, your mag release. It includes all of those parts. And it takes just a few moments to assemble. Oh, and I also included this grip here. I'll probably change this grip out, but to be honest with you, with this build here, I was looking to save money. I've spent quite a bit of money lately building the polymer 80s you've seen on the channel and building the AR-15s that I've been building, and I really wanted to save money, but there were parts of this rifle that I knew would be a little more expensive, so I wanted to make sure that you know, I didn't put a lot into the trigger at this point, and that's something that I can upgrade later if I want to, but I don't see that happening, as I do like the mil-spec trigger. I do like the way the take-up is. This is more for target shooting and not necessarily for battle, but that is something I'm considering now. Do I want to put a long range scope on it, or do I want to put something that does short range and long range, something that can be more like a battle rifle where it's not on a bipod the whole time? So anyway, moving back here, I selected this stock. You know, when you're buying an AR from a store, they're going to come with whatever stock is on them, and they're not always the most comfortable. Sometimes they come with these blade stocks. Sometimes they come with 5-point positional stocks. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they come with pistol stock. It just really depends on what the rifle comes with. The great thing about building, you pick the parts, and that to me is what makes building ARs so much fun. So for me, I knew I wanted this to be more of like a sniper rifle build, so I got this Luth AR stock. It's not adjustable as far as the how far back or how far forward it goes. It's adjustable on the cheek weld here and on the back of the butt right here. So for me, this is exactly what I was looking for, because it's perfect here, and then when I'm holding the rifle, it's you know, I don't really have to lay my head down. It just kind of lay right here, and it's perfect height once I have a scope on there to you know, to do target or whatever else I want to do with it. The other thing about building a rifle is you find out what mistakes you've made. So for me, you've got the trigger, you've got a disconnector, and then you've got the hammer. Disconnector has its own spring. The first AR-15 I ever built, I actually had that spring disconnector spring upside down. And basically it has a wider, and then it gets more narrow, tapers down at the top. So when I put it in, at first I felt resistant, so I flipped it upside down. What I inadvertently did was I created almost a fully automatic weapon. I took it out to the range, and immediately, once that spring got stuck, it just would, I mean, you pull the trigger once and it would shoot 3 or 4 rounds. I mean, it would almost go to full automatic, because every time the bolt carrier group would go back and reset the hammer, the spring was not there, and the hammer would just go right back forward again, following the bolt carrier group back into position once the round was into the chamber. So if I would have bought the rifle like that and gotten home, I would have had no idea what parts were inside of there, but immediately I knew something was wrong in the fire control group. I pulled the fire control group out, figured it out immediately, put it back in, went back to the range, and was able to shoot the gun without any issues at all. So that to me is the biggest plus of building a rifle, is for one, in these times that we live in, it's now October 4th and in 2020, and getting full built ARs is really difficult. Getting parts is sometimes difficult. You just sometimes have to search website after website after website looking for what you're looking for. But I can assure you that there are enough companies out there selling parts for the AR platform that you can build one, and you can build it pretty quickly. There's not a long lead time on anything. My upper for this actually is taking a long time. The company that I ordered the upper from, I asked them to send me the parts, but they said sending just the parts alone would not save any time, because they have to do it by order. So once they reach my order, they're gonna assemble it and immediately ship it out to me. And that is gonna be the complete upper. And that is actually how I recommend doing this, guys. If you're gonna get into building, I highly recommend buying complete uppers. You can get complete uppers pretty much however you want, with whatever handguard you want on them, whatever length you want, whatever gas tube you want. I mean, you can have a full upper complete shipped to your door, and you don't have to worry about installing the gas tubes. You don't have to worry about installing the barrel. You can literally just put it on top of your lower and off you go. I do recommend building the lowers. This is where a lot of the parts and pieces are that are essential, and that would be your buffer spring here and your buffer tube. buffer weight, excuse me, and then also your trigger. Those things play pretty big in comfort for shooting the rifle. Your stock will actually play for that. Your grip, all of that stuff will help with the comfort of shooting the rifle. And then again, it'll teach you everything you need to know about the AR platform. So on that note, guys, I hope that information was helpful. I hope that gave you some tips on what I think you should do, my opinion on it. I know there's a lot of people out there who are already building ARs, and this is nothing new to most of the people out there shooting ARs, but there are quite a few people who just feel really uncomfortable with it. I'm not sure what it is. When I was deciding to build one, I just didn't want the thing to explode in my hands because I didn't know any better, to be honest with you. And I think that's the fear for most people. Even when I built the most recent Polymer 80 Glocks, when I first built them, I thought to myself, man, this was just too easy. How can it be that easy? How is this thing not going to explode in my hand when I fire it off? But once I built it, I at that point was like, wow, it really is just like disassembling a Glock on my table here is the same as assembling the Polymer 80s. And on that note, I will say up until recently, I've been shooting Glocks pretty much my whole life, but I've never taken a slide apart and looked at the slide parts themselves. However, with building this Polymer 80, I ran into an extractor issue the other day, and I actually took the whole slide apart and realized, wow, there's really nothing to a Glock slide. So I think building rifles, building handguns will get your comfort level a lot higher. And I think in the end, you'll be much happier with your overall rifle in the end as your time of ownership progresses, you will find that there are parts that you wish you had on a stock gun that you could have already done on building your own and probably save money. All right, guys, and that's it. That's my opinion on whether you should build or buy an AR-15. Again, my opinion is you should build an AR-15. It's going to give you so much more confidence. It'll allow you to build the rifle that you really want in the end, and you can probably save money doing it that way instead of paying for somebody else's branded stuff that may all work together flawlessly, but it's not going to have all the features that you want in the end. If you guys want to leave some comments below, let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if you have any questions or anything like that. Also, don't forget to follow me on social. Will have the links to my social accounts below. It's all of it is official US Patriot. That's on Instagram and Facebook. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. And on that note, I'm out.